Hello my lovely ravens, today I'm creating Matchbox video 37 in this series, which will be the Leaky Cauldron. By now you know the drill, I make these matchboxes from scratch, and if you are curious which materials I used, you can find them all in the description box below. Let me tell you a bit more about the Leaky Cauldron and its origins whilst I craft this matchbox. The Leaky Cauldron was a popular visiting pub and inn located in London. It was the entrance to Diagon Alley and, indirectly, Nocturne Alley. The rear of the pub opened up onto a chilly courtyard that contained the entrance to both alleyways. The windows and doors I'm using here were kindly sent to me by Nicole. Thank you again, Nicole. They are very helpful for these kind of projects. The Leaky Cauldron was built in the 1500s by Daisy Doddridge. The pub was there long before Charing Cross Road was even planned. Its true address is number 1 Diagon Alley, and it is believed to have been built along with the rest of the Wizarding Street. Created some 2 centuries before the Wizarding World community made the joint decision to go into hiding, the Leaky Cauldron used to be visible to Muggle eyes. The Leaky Cauldron had changed little over the years. It was small, dingy and welcoming, with a few bedrooms above the public bar for travellers who lived a long way away from London. It was the ideal spot to catch up with wizarding gossip if one happened to live a long way away from the nearest magical neighbour. On July 31st, 1991, Harry and Hagrid passed through the pub on their way to Diagon Alley. Tom, the innkeeper, greeted Hagrid there like an old friend. This made it seem that Hagrid was something of a regular. Some other witches and wizards who were there at that time were Doris Crockford, Daedalus Diggle and Professor Quirrell, and they took a great interest in Harry, queuing to shake his hand. The goop that I'm using here is a mixture of paint, water, baking powder and baking soda, and I will leave a recipe in the description box below so you can use it for yourself as well. It gives a great texture for these miniature walls. And other than the texture paint, I'm using acrylic paints for the entire project. In the summer of 1992, Harry and the Weasley family travelled to Diagon Alley by Floo powder. Harry mispronounced Diagon Alley and therefore travelled to Nocturne Alley instead. After doing their shopping, Harry and the Weasleys departed through the Leaky Cauldron's fireplace to the Burrow. In the summer of 1993, as well as shopping there for drinks, Harry stayed at the inn for a time, having accidentally blown up his Aunt Marge. He also met Cornelius Fudge in a private room for the first time. For the upstairs, I want to create this corridor that has the forced perspective, and this is the carpet that I'm painting in here, and then I'm going to go in with a little bit of brown because that is the rest of the floor, and the rest will be walls. While the Leaky Cauldron was a favorite hangout for the magical community, its patronage took a turn for the worst in the summer of 1996, during the beginning of the Second Wizarding War. With Lord Voldemort and the Death Eaters moving in the open, many witches and wizards avoided public places as much as possible, including the Leaky Cauldron. When Harry, Hagrid, and the Weasley family passed through the Leaky Cauldron that summer on his way to Diagon Alley, they noticed that the bar was empty with the exception of Tom. On the 1st of May 1998, at the height of the war, Harry, Ron and Hermione, with the assistance of Griphook the Goblin, staged a break-in of Gringotts Wizarding Bank. While passing through the Leaky Cauldron on the way to the bank, they noted that there was nearly empty. Tom bowed in fear at the sight of Hermione, who was disguised as Bellatrix Lestrange at the time. At some point after the end of the Second Wizarding War, Tom either retired or passed away. Hannah Abbott then became the new landlady. In the film adaptation of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, as Hagrid and Harry approach the front of the door, the sign for the Leaky Cauldron clears from a blank black cutout to a stylized design with a cauldron in the background. In the film adaptation of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, a different doorway with a different sign is shown. It is never shown whether this is supposed to be an alternate doorway or a new main entrance. Also, Tom, the landlord, was recast for the third film. In the film adaptation of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the Leaky Cauldron is shown to be located between 48 Charing Cross Road, Quinto Bookshop, and 12 Great Newport Street, Ashley Associates Chartered Surveyors in London. In the downstairs area, I'm going to create the actual bar or in the Leaky Cauldron, and this is going to be the bar itself. And all these tiny little pieces that I'm gluing together here are going to be the staircase. In Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry stays in a room 11 on the second floor. The room has simple plastered walls and a bed with ornately carved bedposts and a headboard. The Tudor room and its Tudor bed were a deliberate choice to reinforce the idea that the Wizarding World has a different timescale. The view from the window is of London's Borough Market and the towers of Southwark Cathedral. The corridor where the chambermaid attempts to provide room service was created utilizing forced perspective, a time-honored technique used in set decoration that compresses relative heights in order to make places appear taller or longer. In what is, in reality, a 10 or so feet long corridor, the illusion of 50 feet is created. As with so many of the visual effects in the Harry Potter films, practical solutions could be just as applicable as computer-generated ones. This made sets a lot less expensive and a lot more fun. And this is it for this video. I think this is one of the more elaborate matchboxes in the series, and I love how the wall texture, the little chairs and the posters look in this setting. All my social media can be found in the description box below, and if you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and bell notification button so you don't miss out on any future videos, and of course become part of the Raven family. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!